Hello and welcome to episode 317 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, creator of Murder Road, and joining me as always is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
The man who is destined to be killed by a fanzine one day. As he tries to put it on his shelf and the shelf collapses on him. Because
one day it's all going down.
One day. And yes, this week we've got I'm not going to call them a guest anymore because they're not a guest. They're one of us. The host of
owner of Sex Seesaw.
The host of the Awesome Drink and Draws, and bringer of weird energy. It's Tom Curry. Hello.
Good evening, boys.
Tommy boy.
Welcome back.
Weird Energy 2.
Weird Energy 2, Electric Boogaloo. Oh. It's from the get-go. I mean, we've all been talking now for about half an hour.
Yeah.
About all kinds of stuff.
About philosophy, theology, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah.
Go to the Middle East.
Yeah.
Like all conversations, dear listener, what must go up must come down.
Exactly. We thought we'd get all the sensible philosophical debates out of the way so that for the next hour and a half to 2 hours, you've got nothing but nonsense to enjoy to start your week right. Yes, this is Weird Energy 2. And thank you for joining us this week, Tom. I know you're coming cock-locked and ready to rock, aren't you, this week?
Definitely locked, man. But do you know where else is locked full of great comics, Vince?
Yeah.
Where's that from?
I think it's Comic House, Vince.
Yes.
Comic House? Who are they?
Well, Vince, Comic House are the Netflix for comics. And Tom can't remember any more of the adverts.
I know. I love it when people step into it and I think I'm just going to bat it back to them and see how much they remember.
Bullying. Online bullying.
Yeah. They are our lovely sponsor, Pete and the Comic House gang. Love indie comics as much as we do. There's a huge selection of titles on their database. Also, if you're a comic creator and you self-publish, you can issue your book on there and start selling your books straight away. Another avenue to start selling your books. But they also have an amazing app, a digital app, where it's a subscription service, only £3 a month. Much like Tom says, it's like Netflix, but for comics. And stuff doesn't really disappear. It's just comics being added to all the time. I mean, what's on there at the moment, Dan?
We've got the Spaced Out series from Tidal Wave Productions. Got Grey from Daniel Faulkner. Bloop and the Pigeon Pandemic, issue 1, Mars on Lockdown. Realm of Owl's Logic Collections, volume 5. And we've got Roger Corman Presents The Death Sport Games, which I've yet to read. And
you mention that every week. You're really looking forward to reading that, aren't you?
I read Logan's Run this week. I read the first issue of that.
What's that like? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've got Puno Altiplano, volume 2.
That's great. That's worth reading.
Great.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. There's all of those books and more on Comic House, whether it's from some of our guests in the past, some of our future guests, no doubt, and it's being added to all the time. There's a 14-day free trial, and there's if you've got kids and you want them to read more comics and worried about some of the terribly violent and I was about to say sexually active. That's not the right way to use it for a comic, is it? But you know what I mean. But if it's a saucy book or a violent book and you don't necessarily want your kid reading it, then there are sort of parental controls that you can have as well. So there's a special all ages kids section as well. So definitely look into that. Find out more. Go to comichouse.com. Thank you for getting us into the sponsorship ads straight away, Tom.
Sorry for messing up so early.
No. Sometimes we forget to do it. Or like me, you start the Comic House ad and then we get so distracted that I never finish it.
Yeah.
I'll never live that down. But
Nobody noticed.
No one noticed. But I'll tell you what, some people noticed that there were some like awards and all. What was it?
Yeah, awards
going on.
Yes,
we've got a few, couple of things to talk about before we get stuck into the crazy. That's a weird sentence, isn't it? Tony,
never stick it in the crazy. Dan told me that once.
Tony, do you want to kick us off?
Yes. So there's a lot of people won Eisners this week, all clearly down to us. Just some of our favourites. First off, I think probably the one that we're most over the moon about is Kent State won, didn't it? Best reality-based book.
Yeah.
There's a lot of categories in the Eisners. Best reality-based book, Kent State, 4 Dead No Higher by Durf. Not only have we reviewed it, we've had him on the show as well, and it was a cracking episode, that one. Yeah. So I'm well pleased. I think that deserved it. I think. What do you guys?
Agreed.
Yeah, completely.
Absolutely.
Completely. That should have been in a lot of best of lists, without a doubt.
Definitely. Best continuing series again, Usagi, from Stan Sakai, Usagi Yojimbo, which also Stan also won Best Letterer. He's won that quite a few times, to be fair, but deservedly so.
And they very cunningly sort of like released a sort of teaser image for the eventual Netflix animation around the same time.
Oh yeah, that's gone live, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was reading it doesn't actually focus on Usagi. It's like someone else is the main character.
It's like Space Usagi, isn't it? Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Because it's called the Usagi Chronicles, isn't it? Isn't it something like that? Because it's not Usagi Yojimbo, the series.
No.
Which I think, some people might be like, what? That's not what I thought it was. But I think that's quite a good way to go.
I'd
have rather seen an Edo period samurai thing, but if it's got to be that and Stan gets a few quid for it, he ain't young, is he?
Also, at the same time, you can explore this on the animation, but then, if you want your Usagi Yojimbo, go to the comics. That's where you get him.
I never look at the Netflix adaptation and think, here we go, going to get a faithful 1-to-1 adaptation.
No, never.
No.
There's been some good ones, some bad ones, but I think you're right. There's very rarely, isn't it? Yeah.
Hilda was pretty bang on, wasn't it? That was like...
What's that, mate?
Hilda was pretty much bang on.
Yeah, Hilda was very good. Yeah.
Very
I quite like the Titans series, It's not exactly, is it? But I kind of like it.
Oh, okay. I
was prepared to hate it when he said, "Oh, fuck Batman," or whatever he says in the advert for it, and I thought, it's going to be terrible. And I actually kind of warmed to it. I thought it was all right. But yeah. So graphic memoir and design. One design as well is a book that Vince talked about, Loneliness of Long Distance cartoonist Adrian Tamine. So that's good. He won 2. A favourite of Dan's, Simon Hanselman, won graphic novel reprint, Seeds and Stems, and he also won Best Webcomic. So that's good.
Tony's trolling us, Dan, don't worry.
Yeah. But you like Simon Hanselman though, don't you?
Yeah, his Instagram stuff is like he does his comics on there, and I find them genuinely funny because they're quite.
I'm guessing that's what they mean by webcomic, then, do they?
I think so. Yeah, it's an ongoing thing on Instagram.
Okay. Favorite of mine, Archival: The Complete Hate from Peter Bagg. I did an episode of the other podcast about that. Writer James Tinian, he won. Obviously, Department of Truth is a favourite of ours as well, with Martin. So that's good. And best writer artist is Junji Ito. So they're just the ones I picked out. Yeah. And I know he's somebody who gets talked about every couple of months really on it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's great. He's beast.
Yeah. I wonder how many times he's won.
I don't know.
Sure, there's a way of finding that out.
Yeah. I think it's on his wiki. We had a big and lengthy discussion about the value of awards, didn't we, before we came on?
Yeah.
Which is not worth completely repeating, but worth dipping into. And I decided from Vince read a couple of people's tweets about it. I think it's not representative, but it's about as good as we're going to get the Eisners. You know?
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts? Thomas, what about you, mate? What do you think?
Oh, God, I mean, awards only have the value you put on them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what does the Eisners do more harm than good when all said and done, right?
Does it get people reading it?
Does it get people reading it, right? Am I more likely to read Junji Ito's stuff? I was already reading it anyway. And, am I going to look for that list and find something else more interesting for me to check out? I think the most interesting of the Eisners is just as a reading list, more than anything else.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, people do treat it like that, yeah.
I'm not losing any sleep over who does or doesn't win.
I think, the sort of to and fro, and people go, oh, I can't believe this didn't get nominated, or that didn't get nominated, etc. The Eisners is built up. Before we came on, I kept making the cultural comparison of like the Oscars. It's the Eisners is what it is. It is both recognised for being the big one, and also it gets more eyes on it, so therefore gets more criticism for its nominations and stuff like that. But it just is what it is. It just goes to show the impact in the recognition in the community that so many people complain that certain books haven't been nominated.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the numbers voting, because I think a lot of awards, especially the ones we've seen here recently in the UK, are tipped over by your nan. Get your nan to vote on email. Create another email account, vote for it. It's like that. They can be tipped over like that.
Yeah.
Some real niche books that don't even sell in the hundreds seemingly are, making it up the charts to being some of the best books, allegedly. But I'd like to see the voting numbers for the Eisners.
Just
see
out
how
of
many
interest,
what the net is. Yeah.
Junto Ito has won one other Eisner Award in 2019.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow.
So it takes his toes up to 3.
Oh,
Cool.
good. Okay. Cool.
I noticed the best publication for early readers, Our Little Kitchen by Gillian Tamaki, and she was recently in the news for the Starfire comic. But she's just the artist, wasn't she? And to be honest, the art, I quite like the art in that book.
On what book?
The I Am Starfire, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
Starfire. I quite like it. Yeah, it's quite colourful and vibrant. I imagine a lot of people and kids would really be appealed to them.
Yeah.
I brought something up on the Drink and Draw. Somebody was talking about it on the Drink and Draw, and I wondered. I wasn't sure that thing that was doing the rounds of the panel with the F word in it was real, but everyone was seemingly saying it was.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Because the problem with that is it
Scuppers
won't get
and
into
chances.
American libraries.
Potentially not, no. I've noticed, I'm not sure what the Demon Slayer
There's
books
two
are aimed
versions.
at. That's got swearing in that.
So what is this particular moment you're talking about, Tony?
There's a word in that Starfire book where she says fuck.
Yeah.
It's like bring such and such with you or something, or you've got to do something or other, and she says fuck.
Right.
And I just thought, if anyone ever, has ever listened to this show, they know I don't object to swearing.
Yeah.
But I think to get it into the YA section in a library is a big deal in America.
Yeah, you would have thought someone with kind of an eagle eye might knock that back just on that basis
two
alone.
versions or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they'll just do an American print of it?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, there is only the American print at the moment.
But
Okay.
if it's a young adult book, why would you do a print one with swearing and one with not? Because the person it's still a young adult book aimed at a certain age range, isn't it? You
Yeah,
wouldn't-
I think it also it brings up, maybe it's a slightly larger talking topic of the importance, or I don't know, swearing and cursing in comics, and when it is appropriate and when it is not. Because sometimes I'm sure every single one of us here on the pod, and probably you lovely people at home, who has been reading a book and then it just starts, like that one word out of nowhere, or there's a bit of swearing, and you're reading it and it takes you out of the moment. You just sort of think, you're trying too hard. Why have you got to swear? And I like, if you listen to this show, you know none of us are prudes, but I've certainly looked at books sometimes and just thought there was no need to divulge into this,
especially a book that's aimed at YAV. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's too indulgent of the creator.
Yeah.
The editor should be saying, look, we need to get this into markets in, certain states in the States don't like that sort of thing in their library. Some books it's difficult enough to get books in there anyway.
And I think it's also it's like, with a lot of comedy, for instance, if you can write comedy that's absolutely hilarious and completely clean, that's a fucking skill to do it. Because like to just add a, we've all done that. Oh fucking hell, the comedy fuck occasionally. But if you can get the sentiments across without having to,
well, the thing is that's good as well, because that's markets again. So you'll get it on before Watershed, and you'll get a lot more people watching it.
Yeah.
But don't you remember like older sort of Marvel stuff where their characters would swear and then they would put like a kind of funny at symbol or an asterisk when on the vowel, and that's totally fine. I don't know what they're saying.
The swear words were a bunch of, they're not emojis, they're like glyphs, aren't they?
Yeah,
you had like the skull, the hashtag, all of that.
Or be something like by Odin's beard rather than fuck this. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's great because for instance, Sweet Christmas. That is in place of something that could be quite easily cursing, but because of that, you've got a catchphrase that has lived on for years.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I think it also goes to the wider question of editorial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We started on about the Eisners, and then we're like, well, cursing.
Yeah, swearing.
When can you say boobies and willing?
No, yeah, maybe there is some kind of strict rules for what they will and won't have in young adult books. I don't really know myself.
Yeah, it might be somewhere that says, "Oh, you're allowed one swear word," but you can bet your life there'll be a mum that will complain.
There'll be crazy stuff. It's like TV shows. Like they always sort of say, you know, you can't show any nudity, but you can rip a person to absolute bits. Gore they don't care about, but don't show any nudity.
Some things on Comixology say you're allowed one fuck or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it was maybe just the digital version then. I wonder. It'd be nice to know if anyone's got a physical copy of it. You know,
I did go through like in the first couple of issues of Vanguard and change them for the Comixology, and then I thought I'm not going to bother anymore, and I haven't bothered since.
Yeah, okay.
So there's quite a lot of swearing in them.
Is it checked? Have you ever been called?
Well, someone has to go through, and I've never been pulled up about swearing or anything, any content. I just put it like I think it's teen plus.
Yeah, that's what we got. I think. Yeah.
And. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, this derailed your Eisner chat, Tony.
No, I just thought I'd mention some of the people who obviously we got awards for. You know, we worked hard for them.
Yeah.
I said you mentioned briefly that Durf Bat Durf said a long sort of tweet thread about his feelings on.
No, that was
Evan
Dorkin. Sorry, Evan Dorkin. And yeah, I can agree with some points he's making, but then ultimately, if you take it too far to the point, like, well, how would any human being have the full knowledge of every single printed work and comic book put out over a year? I don't know how you would do that.
I mean, I've had rants over the years about the UK award scene. It's a waste of time. It's so niche, and it's voted for by about 100 people at most. Nobody cares. Nobody knows about it. I mean, how networked are we into the UK scene, and we don't hear about some of these awards?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
So
there's loads of stuff.
If anyone wants to nominate us for anything, though, we'll be your best friend.
We would insist on hotel stay, though.
We'll buy you a bag of Haribo.
There was that one award I saw going around on Twitter.
Here we go.
And I was like, I'll just put our name into it then. And I was like, can we be put forward for this? And then like a couple of days later they're tweeting, oh yeah, the Awesome Comic Podcast is like shortlisted finalists. Easy as that.
I voted Dan Butcher Lifetime Achievement Award.
Squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
Squeak.
Hey, if you're not on the race, you can't win it, right?
Exactly.
Right.
God, Tom, you're so deep.
Yeah.
like Olympic swimming pool.
How deep is an Olympic swimming pool?
Fucking deep. It's well deep.
Is that how they measure it down?
Yeah.
I know we said about the swearing.
It's really expensive to fly down up. He goes along on the side and just goes, that's fucking deep.
That's fucking deep.
Putting beers in, sweetheart.
But taking you back in the ages of the young Dan, I learned to swim in Crystal Palace Olympic swimming pool.
I used to go there, man. Fucking that's a great pool, isn't it?
And when you're fucking swimming and you look down, you're like,
it's like being in the sea.
Hell, yeah.
Yeah. I used to. Me and my mates, we all went off the top board. That was a good one as well. That's fucking high there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that's all right? I go up on the top board, and when you get up there, the whole fucking arsehole's going. You're like, Jesus Christ. Especially you got up, you can't bottle it when you're like a teen. There's no way.
I used to undo the string on my shorts so the trunks would come off as I was flying down.
I didn't go in head first. I always feet first.
Oh, yeah, it's easy, wasn't it?
So Dan's always lived his life.
Yeah.
In a nice little sleeping bag.
Who goes into a sleeping bag head first?
You know what I mean.
Oh, that was sinister and arousing. So, right.
Well done, everyone, for winning your Eisners.
Yeah, congratulations.
Well done. Well done. And we already know that there's a few creators that we follow who are just destined for Eisner nominations in the future. There's some, of course, we're no stranger to, I think this person should have been nominated. But we keep them to ourselves.
I've got to say that best cover artist one, that's got to be a tough category.
Yeah. That is.
Was it Momoko? Was it Peach Momoko won it? I think this year. Yeah.
Don't really know her stuff too well.
There's sort of a little bit anime. They go for a few quid. I think some of the variants for that you can get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She did some X-Men ones and stuff like that.
The world of variants. What a strange and wonderful world that is.
It is weird, isn't it? Yeah. I dip my foot into it occasionally. If it's Shang-Chi, I'll buy the variants, but that's about the only one.
Yeah.
Or the cosplay variants, obviously. If it's a Red Sonja comic.
Dynamite. They know how to get your money.
That's the easy way. That's a good thing
because they keep copying and pasting his name into the credits by accident.
Oh yeah, we did that one, didn't we? Yeah. How the fuck do I get in that? Darwin Cook and Tony Esmond. What?
Oh dear. Anyway, should we start off? Tom.
Tom's here.
Tom's here.
You're here to make the show 75% sexier. Of course, but you've actually got some things you want to talk about, haven't you?
I've brought some topics.
Tom's topics.
Tom's topics.
Was there a Tom's topics? Wasn't there didn't we have like a
shit?
There is now. I mean, there's not. So this was kind of. I was looking around. I was surfing the web. I was hanging 10, and such a millennial.
God, where's this going?
And I saw a article from a website that will remain nameless, and basically it was like DC Comics to reveal that Tim Drake Robin is bisexual. Now, a little bit of light reading, and it's not hard to imagine what's happened here. It's got to Pride Month. We're in June. DC have got their big wheel of characters up, and they've spun it, and they've landed on Tim. They've spun the wheel, and thought, okay, it's Wonder Woman. No, not her. And over one more, and it's gone to Tim Drake.
Yeah.
And hey. You look at the article and you think, okay, well, they've done this. And you look below and it's a standard response you'd expect. He's never been bisexual before. He's showed no interest in X, Y, Z. And I was thinking, okay, initially you sort of like, there's the sort of the standard cynicism of like, well, DC are just trying to cash in on this thing and so on and so forth. But then it got me thinking about like comics canon as a whole, right? And does strict adhesion? Adhesion? Ooh, what word? Adherence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Strict adherence. When I fall, you guys pick me up. Strict adherence to comics canon making it still. Because on one hand, if they take this idea and say, like, okay, we're going to make Tim Drake bisexual and we're going to run a story of this, that's better than just the same stuff get hashed out. But I'm just curious to see what you guys land on this one.
Well,
not particularly this one.
Yeah, first thing, just when you immediately said it, it made more sense for Wonder Woman to be.
Of course it does.
As soon as you said it, I just thought, well, that makes more sense.
I've always been quite fascinated with bisexuality.
But you know as well as I do, quoting a line, heroes don't do that.
And there's a lot of interesting topics, and certainly sometimes for me it's like when it is in support of the story and when it can do some genuine good and like some genuine messaging. I think sometimes it has just been almost like a sticker you put on the front of a front cover to get a couple of
100%, absolutely,
a couple of headlines. But if you're going to, and it just, I mean, my view is if you're going to do it, you go all in and do it. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to sort of say that, because you're always going to be well, I don't think that Green Lantern was gay. He was never gay before. And that's, but then again, when you read it, that Green Lantern probably never talked about their personal life or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's sort of, there are certain characters I think have flexibility. Certainly with the, it's a tricky subject, but I think if you're willing to do it, then do it and get some decent messaging and some decent stories out of it. It's something that is just, it's not just a month of marketing. This is going to live with the character going forward. And I say this without having any, I didn't know that about Tim Drake.
Oh,
no one did, because it only released it like a few weeks ago, and it's been like heavily hinted, and it's like, come on, just do, like, if you're going to do the thing, do the thing.
I mean, for me, it's like, if he is, he is. Doesn't matter. He's still
I do wonder.
Tim Drake, isn't he?
Look, as Tim Drake's had a series of girlfriends in the comics. Same as the, and he's been about for decades. Not as many decades as Iceman, Bobby Drake's been about, but apparently Bobby Drake is gay and not bisexual. So I don't know. It just seemed that seemed forced more Bobby Drake. If he's bisexual, okay, I think kids do. You know, they're more open to that sort of thing now. You know, to going from whoever they fall in love with, they fall in love with. But I was a bit more pissed off at the Bobby Drake thing because he'd been straight for 50 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Bobby Drake one was an interesting one because I don't know, because when they had the Brian Michael Bendis, what was it?
All New X-Men.
Well, yeah, All New X-Men was just a great series. When they actually made that work, this young X-Men team, and it kind of makes sense, but also in the for want of a better word, the variants, they almost felt like an alternate universe.
No, but they both are now, aren't they? I think they're both gay,
that's the thing. Is it felt like an alternate universe. So when it came up with this young character, I was like, oh right. But then I don't know. I mean, have they? And I haven't read any of it. Because I haven't read any Marvel for a long time. Have they? If they're going to do that, have they treated that Bobby Drake scenario well enough? And to basically be, I mean, you're always ice skating uphill, aren't you? With let's face it, a lot of the troll posting people that'll be like, well, I don't like this. If you don't like it, don't read it. Why are you reading it every fucking month? If you're gonna, it's all.
I don't think it's quite as simple as that, V. I think I think when you read someone for so many years, and I don't mean ownership of it at all, but there's a familiarity with it, and there's almost an you adore or love or like or whatever the character. When it changes so significantly, and your sexual preference out the blue is quite a significant change.
It's massively significant.
Yeah.
I think. And rightfully
so. If they changed him into anything, if they changed him into a Vulcan, I would feel the same way. It's not the sexuality thing, and I think that's unfortunately what causes the news headlines.
Yes,
absolutely. But if they said, "Oh, all these years Bobby Drake's been a Skrull," I'd be just as pissed off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you think there is... Go on, Doc.
I think it has to be taken from case to case. The same with a lot of things in life. You have to see whether it works from case to case. And like you say, V, the young Iceman, cool, I dug that. Bobby Drake, he's of an age, where, that's quite possible, even though, But, yeah, there's some things that work and some things that don't. And they stretch the credibility of the character to stop you believing in him.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think... there could be more work done with characters that have already been established as being of another, sexuality or something. I mean, where North Star, obviously, occasionally you have like the wedding issue or things like that, but that's a character that, is a front runner of,
He was always gay though.
But that's what I mean. He was always gay. So why not? There's your. For want of a word, it's always been gay. So why can't North Star just be pushed up and made more?
I agree, totally, man.
Yeah. Rather
than
character. Is it because they don't think there's enough with that character? That character isn't interesting enough, and if not, why not? Well, there's so much this, and this is a character that I don't know too much about, and that was always one of the things. But I didn't know much about North Star, but I knew his sexuality. What does that?
Yeah.
What does that say?
I always thought he was shagging his sister. I'll be honest with you.
That was a bit weird as well. That was
it was
Byrne, wasn't it? Yeah, Byrne wrote some weirdness, didn't he? Was it Byrne? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm massively cynical on the subject. If I was reading the story and then like a character came up with their sexuality, whatever it be, as long as it was well handled, I don't think I'd even think about it twice. But in this day and age, I'm so cynical when they do this. It's just another shameless sales tick box exercise, and I'm just like, oh fuck, here we go again. Literally, like you could just throw fucking a board with all the characters on. You say that one's gay now. It's like, well, is there any fucking thought put into this? Is there any like building up the story? Is it just?
And that's the real kicker, right? Like if there was actually some time and energy put into either developing a new character or actually making a serious stab at this, then it could be like a really engaging storyline.
Yeah.
But instead, what we're getting in is and let me just get the title of the book because it's so forgettable. Hold on.
You did the same with like if I was reading Midnighter Midnighter and Apollo, and suddenly they split up, and he went, "Oh, Midnight was like, actually, I'm kind of heterosexual now." I'd be like, "What? What?
Yeah,
What?
no, yeah, I'd be what?
What?
So, fuck is going on there?
Yeah.
It's got chucked into Batman Urban Legends #4.
Oh, right.
Which is an anthology book that isn't even his main title, and you think, well, this is just going to be forgotten in 6 months.
Yeah.
What you've done is you've got some headlines. You've taken.
I didn't even know that book exists. You know that
There
is
you
such
go.
a milk toast title as well.
Exactly. Yeah. They know this is a completely safe bet because they can put this on for 2 months. They can forget about it, and then it can just be repeated again next year. The big wheel can come out.
But I tell you what, go and buy that comic because it might well be worth a few quid. It's worth a punt on £4, just so you can turn it over on eBay if it works out in a few years' time.
Well, generally, what you're saying about like the introduction of canon, I think it's absolutely like so foundational that that canon's got to be respected. And if you're not interested in keeping up with the canon of a character, don't write the character.
I think you're right, man, and I think that's the problem with what we're seeing now. Unfortunately, there is a big backstory, and there's a lot of writers who know it and a lot of writers who don't.
Yeah,
and I think that's why we're seeing. Go back to I'm Not Starfire, or whatever it's called again. They go back to that. She's probably been asked to write a Starfire book, and she's come up with that because she doesn't have to go back through New Teen Titans, Teen Titans, and all this sort of thing to work out what the actual history of Starfire is.
Do you think if you take a character like Captain America that's got such a vast history from the 40s to werewolves to all the stuff in between, like, do you think all of that should be honoured, or do you think there should be like key issues taken out of like here's key arcs?
The thing is,
I think the ways of doing it without fucking up. The prime example I always come up with is Tombstone's daughter, who was the Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, whatever that series was.
Yeah.
They drew her as white. Now, anyone who knows canon knows that Tombstone is a black dude.
he's a black guy, yeah.
But whatever his whatever
how he got his power or genetic, whatever it
is
is,
made him the colour of
Bleach
stone,
white,
white stone, and that's why he is. But they made her white, and I think things like that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I think people should. There are people at Marvel and DC who, with those old hands, unfortunately, they're sort of disappearing, aren't they? Len Wein was one of them, wasn't he? Kurt Busiek, all these sort of people.
I always thought like the editor position in that would be the fucking person who would know their shit inside out.
Well, it should
if you tried to pull that like back in the day, I always thought, oh, look, we're going to do this. You go, no, you can't do that because of X reason or Y reason. Do you know what I mean?
He says, this is the first time I've been on. Krypton. Well, no, it's not. You've been there 20 times before.
Yeah.
It's even like that advert that appeared. There's been two recently. There's one that says it's been 50 years since Uncanny X-Men started. Since Giant Size X-Men. No, it hasn't. All you got to do is look it up. And the other one was Captain America, created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. No, it wasn't.
But also, like, the idea, if you've got a character with, like, a rich history of tons of story behind him, there's so much there you can play with and use and work with. If you're turning up with a blank slate, that's one thing because you're building the character from the ground up. But if you get one of these characters with a rich history and you think, oh, fuck it, I'll just do, like, a clean slate from there, you just... that's the worst of both of the worlds, surely, because you got a really big backstory you're ignoring, and then you're trying to bring a new character into the mix to a character people already know. It's just...
I suppose the problem now is the different canons we've got. Yeah. So the most obvious one is the MCU, but you've also got other spin-off universes like Ultimate Universe and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem is, like, for example, for those that have seen Black Widow, I won't spoil it, but Taskmaster, the identity of Taskmaster is now two different things.
Yeah.
So where do you go with it? If you want, there's 25 million people in the UK have seen Black Widow, but 200 people have read the comic.
But you know what they did get right, Tony? That vest. Thank God that vest got backstory.
I tried watching Black Widow and I turned it off. I thought it was really boring.
Okay.
Oh, I loved it. That's all I've got to say about that, and that's all the movie chat you're going to have on this. But, like,
I'll just scrap that next question then. Cool.
Well, I think we've got to pay service because there's a lot of stuff that works. I think we have to. You should know about a character to write about it.
Yeah.
In the very basic, simple terms.
I think to take Tom's suggestion of Captain America, that is such a vast. I mean. That's like over 75 years of bloody history. You can't know all of it. If you're going to read all of that, you'd never get around to it.
But there's summaries to read.
But you should know,
Yeah.
depending on what you want to write for that character, you should look at, okay, well, I've got this story. Is there something that affects that? I need to know what I'm talking about.
These people are based on their characters, and the best examples of that are Daredevil and Wolverine. And you look at the background of Wolverine, when he first started, he was just this brawler. We didn't even know what he looked like underneath the mask. But now he's got that. You've got the Weapon X stuff. You've got the am I really a man or am I an animal stuff going on. There's lots going on with him. And same with Daredevil. You've had all this sort of fall from grace stuff. And, there's loads going that you should be aware of if you're going to write the emotional beats for a character in a comic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if you're going to write any, if you get the chance to write any of these, these, for want of a better word, big two, Marvel or DC characters, good luck to you, because, you write anything and someone's not going to like it. So
I always thought that they were kind of essentially writing fans of it who were writers who wanted to get into it. So someone who wanted to write Cap had fucking read Cap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also sometimes back in the day, they would just, you read the Marvel books and it was like, oh right, you're going to be writing Captain America now for the next 2 months. Am I? Because it was just their job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of this canon history that we know of, and we're like, oh my god, this was set in stone. It was a dude.
There wasn't so much then. That's
no,
the thing.
It was just
you
someone
could go to
right,
the previous
okay.
writer. I mean, if you're going to write Captain America in 1973, there's only sort of 4 or 5 people you needed to speak to.
Yeah.
You'd probably ring round, wouldn't you? So I'm going to do this thing where there's a secret empire. What do you think? Yeah, that's good.
And some of those creators just didn't give a fuck anyway, did they? Right, I'm just gonna
turn him into a fucking werewolf.
Turn him into a werewolf. Woohoo! Great on paper, and then.
Turn him into a woman, turn him into a werewolf. That would go. We've said that before.
Send him into the future, send him into another dimension.
Yeah.
There's lots to do, but you have to know at the heart who someone is.
Sure.
The recent Shang-Chi stuff's been fucking atrocious. He's giving people high fives and taking selfies. And I'm like, did you never read this character ever?
Yeah. Just hang around with like a serious martial artist who takes their shit really serious, and you know that they don't fucking do that.
I think it's just
he was an assassin. I
want more and more like fresh new characters and like establish someone new that had.
They're afraid that they won't get established. That's the thing. They're afraid to do it. They're just sticking with these things. They need to have the bollocks. No, not what people say about Jim Shooter. He had the bollocks to create a whole new universe.
Yeah,
one character probably survived. But it's like.
Yeah.
Rather than go back and tweaking characters to retrofit them, they should make new ones.
Yeah. People are reticent to read them because they don't want to go back and read all the history of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Whoever it's going to be. They want to read Miles Morales, for example, is a success story.
Yeah.
That
was exactly the one I hope you were going to say, because that's the real kicker, right? When all's said and done, like if you've got these characters and you haven't got the energy, or you can't think of more stories to write for Captain America, make someone new. It's all good.
But I mean, the thing is, but then you have the bottom line money makers. People signing checks going, well, it's going to work more if it's this character. And it's like, that's such a shame. And I think it's culturally we are at obviously there's so many people in the world with great ideas, and in the independent scene and everything, there's so many great ideas. But certainly when it comes to the larger, more mainstream stuff, I think we're at a real creative deficit because people
we're stagnating.
How many reboot? Yeah, we're getting reboots or remakes of like 80s things, 90s things. In 30 years, who's going to reboot what we're making now?
Yeah.
No one, because there's nothing. Because all we're getting now is remakes of something that was 20 years ago. So it's just recycling.
I always think, look back at the creation of Spider-Man. Stan thought he was going to get sacked, the company was going to come to an end, and his missus said, well, if that's the case, just write what you want to write something interesting, write something different. So he wrote Peter Parker, and we got Amazing Fantasy 15. You can't worry about
created Miles Morales, and Miles Morales for a lot of people is their Spider-Man, and that's what we want. We want, and that was a character that certainly made a cultural impact, and rightfully so. we need more stuff like that has the opportunity to do things rather than. And I think it should be personally. I think it should be almost singular characters rather than. Yes, we've got the X-Men team, but the seventh person to the left there.
We've created another team full of people we've never heard of, and it's what are you doing? It needs to. You need to do the Avengers Defenders route, don't you? Or Justice League route of creating characters, then putting them in a team. I think often, because you've got a collection of characters who people love, and they'll go to that book rather than a book full of like loads of people you don't really know. Yeah. I think as well, I want to hear the voice of these characters. There's a voice to Conan. There's a voice to Captain America. There's a voice to Captain Britain. There's a voice to Spider-Man. There's all these people, and unless you can tell a story using that voice, you're in the wrong comic. And I don't think we're getting that a lot of some people. I think we're getting their voice. We're not getting the voice of the character.
Agreed. No, that's the trouble is everyone begins to sound like the same.
And sometimes they don't keep the momentum on things. One of my, I think it was just after we started, one of my favourite series from Marvel that I was loving was Avengers Arena, and then Avengers Undercover, which was, for want of a better word, Dennis Hopeless and, I've forgotten the artist now, Kevin, I've got his name. Shame on me. But they were taking characters that, essentially, they were from Avengers Academy and things like that, which were probably one of the last big examples of them trying to create some new characters, I think. But they were all these C-list sort of characters for and putting them together. I didn't know anything about these characters, and reading those two stories, I was fucking invested in those characters, and I really liked those characters. And after those two series, where are they now?
And Kev Walker.
Kev Walker,
so I've got a couple of pages of his nice artist,
and I know they were two books that were written really well but went under the radar. But if you've got something that has really got some momentum, keep it going. Keep these,
I think the good thing about that series, and another one like that, is Exiles, was they were kept in their own little universes. We didn't have to cross over as well. That's why I liked them.
That was why I loved reading Avengers Arena, because it was like, here's all these characters you don't know much about. Let's put them in a, it's almost like a one-shot. You don't have to know anything. You can come in and just read it. And it was so good.
I'm chucking it on the list. That looks great.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
Oh, Avengers Arena's a fucking brilliant.
Marvel app, guys. That's what you need. I got my son the Marvel app the other day, and he read the whole of the Exiles, all three series.
One thing I will say about Avengers Arena is it's 3 trades and the story's done. And I think Avengers Undercover's similar. It's like 2 stories that are done. And also they made Arcade actually fucking deadly again. Threat. So that's God, I recommended that. I need to read that again. I'm just looking at my shelf now. Oh, look at them. Anyway,
did we want to do some of your little the other thing you do, Tom? What do you call it again?
I mean, that's
Reach for the Stars. Reach for the Stars.
We can absolutely do Reach for the Stars if you want to.
Yeah, I like that one. Come on.
Okay.
Let's do that.
It feels like my granddad's like, come on, Tom, do your magic trick.
Come on, Tommy boy.
Come on.
Do you want to wear this?
So, dear listener, you may not remember this from Weird Energy, but what I've done is I've gone to Amazon.co.uk and I've searched for famous graphic novels we've all read, and I've gone through the mire of the reviews and I've picked out ones that have made me giggle internally and externally. So these are all books to read, so I'm going to read them out to the boys, and they have to guess what book it is.
Play along at home. So they're all generally 2-star reviews you go for.
Yeah, you love a 2-star review, don't you?
For me, so just to, your 1-star is going to be Book Was Damaged. This was crap. Your 5-star, loved it. Jizzing all over it. Now, what I'm looking for, I'm looking for the madness of the 2-star review. The person who's read the book and gone, this is not quite good enough, and I've gone for a 2-star. So we've got some 2s, we've got some 3s coming up, but we start from Ronnie Torborg. 2 stars. The book itself is too incoherent. Too much of ... This is a verified purchase. The book itself is too incoherent. Too much of the time materials needed to get the full experience of the story. One person found this helpful.
I love the fact that you've added in how many people have found this helpful.
It's important data that we need.
Now, just for specifics, these aren't just sort of tiny. These are notable titles, aren't they?
Notable titles.
I'm going to go for the obvious. I'm going to go for the obvious Watchmen answer.
I'm going to go for Sandman.
Oh, ciao.
Read it again, Tom, for us.
Ronnie Torborg.
The
book itself is too incoherent. Too much of ... The book itself is too incoherent. Too much of the time material is needed to get full experience of the story.
All right, I'm changing my
Oh no, you've locked it. You've locked in.
Can I not say Arkham Asylum? Can I not say
you can
that?
say Arkham Asylum. That's fine.
Okay.
Fuck it. I'll go from Hell.
Good shout.
Not right there. But we move on to the next review.
Okay.
This
You're
is
not
from...
going to tell us? Oh, it's the same
book.
book.
Second review, same book.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
G. Barker, official. Marvel is now a full paid-up member of the neoconservatives, corporate fascism of the age.
This is House of X Powers of 10.
What's next for the Waff and the Shield? Get the superheroes to fight anyone in a trade union? As always, this title is excellently illustrated. A pity the storylines that left such a terrible taste of totalitarianism in the mouth. I've never been so disappointed with the conclusion. One person found this helpful.
Civil War.
Hoxpox.
Bingo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is it
nice
Civil
work.
War?
It's Civil War.
Hey!
Hey.
Just 2 bonus ones for Civil War because these just made me giggle. Stu, 2 stars, disappointing, and I love it when people do this on a review. Really, really love this. I would start by acknowledging I've been spoilt when it comes to graphic novels. Among the first graphic novels I've ever read were Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, The Long Halloween, Hush, The Dark Phoenix Saga, The Killing Joke, and V for Vendetta. I've read these works of art and thought that for certain I'd stumbled into a new world of incredible storytelling. I've been chasing that high ever since, of only the odd moments here and there of reaching such greatness. Like, what the fuck are you doing just giving it a book you've read?
Yeah.
That
Recently,
is,
I was treated
that's
to...
comics, isn't it?
Recently, I was treated to Old Man Logan, which is possibly the best Wolverine tales I've read. I'm noting the Miller McVen pairing of that adventure, decided it's time to go give Civil War a go. I was slightly apprehensive, and it's not as good as the films. 2 stars.
Oh, fuck off.
Not as good as the films.
Not as good as the films.
Finally, for this one,
Okay.
Amazon customer, 1 star. Verified purchase. Keep that in mind. This came up when I searched for books on US Civil War. It is misclassified.
But so they actually bought that fucking book.
Yeah.
They brought it. They decided they wanted to put a review on there. One person found that helpful, which I'm always happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not lying though.
He's not lying. It is misclassified if he found it for US Civil War.
It is nothing to do with the US Civil War.
Oh. Do you guys want another one, or do you want to break them up for later on?
Let's have should we have another one later?
Yeah, let's save it for
Save for
later.
later on. That's fine.
Yeah. Do you have another Tom's Topics?
I do actually, and I kind of only want to sort of like dabble on this one. I don't want to spend ages.
Oh.
Rights in comics.
Yeah.
The rights.
So in other words, now
This is
we've
a spiky subject for this
This is a
week.
spiky subject.
Yeah.
It is a spiky subject, isn't it? Which is what I just want to. Before we go into the obvious example, there's a very interesting parallel with Games Workshop, who make Warhammer.
Yeah.
Okay.
They, regardless how you feel about Warhammer and what soldier you're going to be when you go into the shop, you can't deny that the artwork they produce for their books is stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Absolutely stellar. But dear listener, if you go to your PC computer now and you Google any Games Workshop art, you'll not see a single signature at the bottom.
Okay.
They fucking erase them.
They never credit the artist. And when asked about this, their rationale is they know their fan base is so rabid that any mistakes would cause the artist to be hounded. That's the reason they give.
There is some truth in that.
Now, yeah, this is the interest, and there are people. There's a list of people for who have been like driven away from Games Workshop work because of the hate they've been given. And we're talking on things like the wrong color testicle for an orc. Do you know what I mean? That kind of level of like.
Jesus.
It reminds you of a few different comic communities that I don't want to name, but there's a few which are very rabid about like, no, they'll have this type of missile and this type of missile only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously rights in comics. This has become obviously kind of the topic at the moment with the whole Rick Remender.
Rick Remender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became the topic for 5 minutes, and everyone realised, oh, okay. Yeah, Dan's got a best grip of it. Did you want to explain it, Dan, or?
Yeah, essentially it was kind of like how to describe it. There was a thread going on about rights in comics and who had rights, and there was a Valiant creator who said they had some rights owed from a piece they'd worked on.
Yeah, it was Joshua Dysart, wasn't it? For,
that's right.
Harbinger, yeah.
And La Rosa basically said, "Well, I've not gotten my payment for any royalties on the Scumbag, which I worked on." and sort of the insinuation was that he was owed money by Remender, and that money wasn't paid. And when he tried to chase it, Remender blocked him because he was going through medical treatments at the time. And everyone done what they usually do is they researched it thoroughly before taking appropriate action. No, they all dogpiled Remender saying, "Oh, this is disgraceful. I knew he was a fucking bastard." Blah 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 blah. And it came out.
Remender scrubbed his Twitter, didn't he? At that point,
scrubbed his Twitter. It came out on Bleeding Cool today that La Rosa went through, deleted it, and he's made a full retraction, which I'm happy to read. It's a little length, but the scumbag. Okay, so this is Luis La Rosa. The scumbag is different from my other creator-owned projects because Luis La Rosa. This is Rick Remender saying it. Sorry. The scumbag is different from other creator-owned projects because Luis La Rosa, who was meant to draw the entire series and be co-owner, quit while drawing the first issue due to a bad back. As a fan of his work, I was disappointed, but had full sympathy. I told him I'd gladly wait until he was better and paid him on the work he had done, but he wanted to quit. A few weeks later, the best solution I could scramble together to save the book was to bring in a different artist for each issue with all the money dumped into their upfront rates, instead of doing things the way I'd always done with an image book. Lewis agreed to finish the first issue, but had to fit in with the new bad idea book he was now working on. To date, I haven't made a single penny on the scumbag. This book is still in the red by tens of thousands of dollars. Every single penny went to pay the art teams. The way the scumbag was put together is not how I would preferred it to be, but Luis La Rosa had been paid by everything he was owed in his contract and more, and it was 100% his choice to quit. If you ask me any of the many artists I've done creator-owned books with, they'll verify they get an equal share of the profits and the ownership.
And I think some people have, haven't they?
Yeah. And there was
who was it? Deadly
the
Class.
Guy from Deadly Class, Wes Craig.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that's been adapted into a fucking TV series and stuff like that. And he's been like, it's been down, 50-50 all the way.
Death and Glory said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So like Luis La Rosa didn't want to comment further, but he did tweet. Remember, I signed over IP rights and rights to royalties when I needed to leave the scumbag due to my long-term health problems, and was paid an agreed-upon page rate. I wish no harm to him personally or professionally. Please continue to support him and his projects.
Yeah, and it's just maddening because, he's just said that he got paid for it, and he's what he said is essentially agreeing. I think Remender's statement came out after, didn't it? I think.
Yes.
Comment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know there was a couple of replies that said, "Oh, I see Remender's solicitors have been in contact" or something like that.
Yeah, the snarky people that just because they've done it, one good thing doesn't mean they're not a shitty person or something. And I'm just like, oh, fuck off.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Because do you know what? I don't know the whole story because it's not my fucking business.
Yeah,
I don't know what goes on
the other
between
thing.
the two of them. The contract was signed.
And I watched the people, I don't take part in that sort of conversation, but I watched the people appear and use it as a way to get their names out. So a certain female writer put, I never have problem with any people I work with. They always get paid properly. Oh, well, you're clearly talking about Remender and trying to get a job by saying, trying to impress people. The thing is, it speaks to a hugely wider thing. So here's a little, for example, that I'm going to make up. My laptop, I use 3 or 4 computers at work in one day, and I have loads of programs, right? So my computers don't work. So rather than ring my boss and say, oh, by the way, my computer's broken, I go onto Twitter and I say, oh, my computer's broken.
Yeah.
Nobody's fixed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking ring Remender up and ask them about it. Yeah. Don't just moan about it on Twitter. And Twitter is turning into the comments section of the Daily Mail. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's turning into.
Yeah. So, like, say you was your job. Another example is, and your job in your contract, you don't get paid overtime, and then you went on Twitter and said, "I did 5 hours overtime this week, which I'm not going to get paid for." Then it was like, "Oh fucking hell! Why aren't they fucking paying you?" So, well, you fucking agreed to it.
Let's cancel your company.
And this is this sort of. Do you know what I mean? If everything's agreed up front, if you've signed, be aware of your own worth, and if you've signed this. And even if, like, for want of health reasons, you had to back out of it and stuff, but still, if because of that you then sign something and sort of say, yeah, just pay me for my issue, I'll get it done, and then someone else can take up. That's great because you still got paid for the work. That's the important thing. You got paid for the work that you
paid you for fuck's sake.
They paid you for the work that you did, and then.
And I have that book on my pull list, and I don't find it as an attractive book to read because it's a different artist every week.
Yeah,
Okay, that's interesting.
I prefer it to be a consistent artist. They've had some cracking artists on it.
I like the fact that it's got that.
But they don't. Are you reading it, Vince? Because I don't think they capture everyone fucking brilliantly. They don't all look the same.
The first books. I mean, I haven't read after the first trade, but the first.
I'm trying to work out who people are as I read through, and I'm like, if it was all Louis LaRosa, I'm like, it would be fine.
Yeah.
There's some brilliant art in there. I'll agree with you completely, but it's just like me. It's like, oh, and then one of the artists got bloody cancelled or something, didn't he? Is it the second issue or the third issue? He got into the shit on the Daily Mail comments, and I'm now going to refer to Twitter ads.
Oh, it's like Daily Mail or YouTube, isn't it? Don't read the comments. Simply.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand about that Louis LaRosa when he was saying he was having trouble in finishing the book, but then he was already working on another.
Yeah, I noticed that was a sly little comment from Amanda. I don't blame him for that because he went to Bad Idea, who are the Dinesh Shamazani guys and the guys from Valiant, aren't they? Who I think have got deep pockets. I wonder.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, we can't comment too much because we don't know what's going on.
Do we?
So it's.
I mean. That whole, going back to
Twitter,
the Warhammer thing, it's certainly. I mean, if that's Games Workshop's way of doing business, that's their way of doing business.
Yep.
And you sign up for that when you take work.
And certainly, probably in a lot of ways, even more so than comics, that the fan base is rabid. For
it's
like
large and rabid.
Yeah. And
it's
if anyone's seen a
comics.
Games Workshop novel. You'll know that they can kill human beings if you drop them on there.
And they're really popular, and they sell. I think they're popular on their own, aside from the figures as well, aren't they? People just read the novels, I think. Yeah.
I've read a lot of the Horus Heresy ones, and I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah, Dan Abnett writes some, doesn't he?
Yeah.
His
ones, honestly, when I've read them, they're standout.
Yeah.
Right,
but the others are fine, but when you read the Dan Abnett stuff, it's like he fucking knows
I think
stuff.
he's very much known. He's very much known for sort of like creating Horus Heresy.
Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting that they say that, but also from the artist, if you're not happy with that deal, then you don't take that deal. Do you know what I mean?
Don't get Twitter.
Don't sort of say and I'm sure artists haven't done this with Games Workshop. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. Because like some of those paintings probably take weeks and months to paint, and it's like doing one of those paintings and then just after you submitted it, going to Twitter and sort of say, "Oh, they wouldn't even let me put my signature on."
It depends as well. It almost should be part of the contract. If you go to Twitter and moan about not being able to put your name on it, then you're revealing who did it.
Yeah. Oh no, you can find out who did the work. They don't have to hide it. They just can't have they're not credited the books. They can't sign it. The big thing at the moment, this is kind of reasons it came on my radar, was about nipples.
Good.
There is a race there called orcs, and they are spawned from mushrooms, meaning they shouldn't have nipples. But some chucklehead, put nipples on an orc.
Because they're fungus, aren't they?
They're fungus, and that's what everyone was losing their shit over. And you kind of think to yourself, like, every day we take one step further from God.
Yeah.
And
love that.
People are fucking dying. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It is one of those.
I quite like that there's people like that in the world, though. So listen, there's no fucking nipples and orcs. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Right,
Screaming on their YouTube channel.
I've just made a note of that one.
Oh, sorry, B.
sorry.
I was channeling the energy.
Vince is also going to go off and draw an orc with nipples in a minute. I've got a feeling.
All my orcs from now on are just going to big old tatties. I mean, the thing is, in our own little ways, we're part of fandoms. We love being part of these communities and stuff. But every single one of these communities and fandoms has a fucking dark side, and it is a gutter. I'm not going to fuck about with it. There are wonderful things about being part of a fandom and a community, and there's a lot of fucking horrible.
It's almost a race just to get involved these days.
And I honestly hope it's just a vocal minority. That's and it
is. I think just their loud voices, they get heard.
Yeah,
80% of people in the UK don't have a Twitter account, so they don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah, exactly.
We should care less about it. We should definitely care less about it.
And if you've got a big
they're drawing the orcs with nipples or no nipples, they just don't.
Belly buttons, all sorts of holes.
Oh, tatties. That's just fun to say. But and also if if you make a success enough of yourself, you just leave social media because you don't need it.
Exactly.
Just
that is the way, innit?
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be a zero-sum game because essentially all it can do is fuck things up for you. So you're best off not being on it.
Yeah.
So for jobbers like us, we have.
I've
to
noticed
be on it,
a lot
show
more
your
people
shit.
a lot more people are locking their accounts down. I've got a lockdown account. It's much better.
I prefer, like we're on Slack and we can have a conversation about stuff, and stuff isn't going to be taken in bad faith, and you can just talk about comics and fun stuff. And I think that's the way social media networks are going to go. That we're going to start getting.
It's like having a message board again. Isn't it?
Yeah, back into
like
forums again, because otherwise you just get a load of. Not
I think
trolls,
I think as well, when we're seeing it, is the diversification of social media. So you're getting people who are leaving Twitter, leaving Facebook, and they're going to other places. You've got Discord and Slack, and you've even got stuff that is sort of politically polarizing, like Getter and Parler and Odyssey and all these sort of places. VK, all these sort of things. I think we only see a small, slim bit of it. I mean, TikTok, for example, look how popular that is.
Yeah.
But
I guess you got to be careful
all these
because
things,
that's like a breeding ground for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all of these things, it starts off really cool and it's great and everyone loves it. And then the companies are like, oh, everyone loves this. Let's get involved in this. And then there's all the advertising there. It's ruined. And so people used to it. People jump to another platform because it's cool and it's great and everyone loves it. And then the companies are like, oh, and so on and so on until we all die.
I got done up
there
with one of those tweets. It's got an amusing picture on it. You think, I wonder what that's about, and then it's an advert, and they take you to a website. And you're like, fuck it, got done.
Yeah. I am fed up with going on social media and people trying to fucking flog betting and football to me. Do they just know? I mean, it's like, oh God, I don't care about Betfred. Fuck off, Fred.
Oh mate, I've had 3 friend requests on Instagram this week, and which is also a lockdown account of mine. And I looked at each of them, and they're all people with Kickstarters, and I'm like, no. I put dogs and comics on my fucking no. Touch my front bottom.
See, Tom. I mean, Tom, you have thrown. I mean, for all the we laugh about the weirdness, but they're definitely thought-provoking topics.
Yeah,
and certainly whatever we talk about
Weird energy.
today, should have said this up front, but of course this is just our opinions, and we're just chatting about this, and keep the conversation going on the comment threads and wherever, and on the Slack, etc.
What's on the postcards? Send it to your nan.
Yeah, I like a postcard.
See what she makes of it.
See what she makes of it.
Yeah, that's Tom who's recommended that. Just so you know. Yep,
Tom's nan.
I threw you under that bus.
No. She loves a postcard.
Do you?
I got another postcard this week of 2 hedgehogs from Eamon.
Oh, nice one.
I love hedgehogs.
Guess what their names were?
Bill and Ben.
Spiky.
Pascal and Brian.
Well done.
I also got George Mayhem in the post.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
good stuff.
Lovely stuff.
We were talking about this on the Drink and Draw, which you should come along to at some point if you're free.
Yes.
What's the name? The cover, the texture of the cover. That's all.
I don't know. I'll have to ask 4P. He designed that. He was quite proud of it, and I think it's almost like a little tactile cover, isn't it? You must know. Come on, you're graphic designers.
It feels like matte laminate.
Yeah, I've had that done on Viper. It's the matte laminate cover.
It's matte laminate.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
It's soft against your face and your naked torso. What?
Yeah.
I did look, like you get the special finishes like UV gloss and stuff, and it basically adds like $1,000 onto the total. I was like, well, nah.
Yeah.
Do you like a special finish, Dan?
Always.
Good.
Gloss finish sprayed over the top.
Tom, do you have...
Hello. Go on.
You set that up, V.
I know, and you knock them down.
Do you want another reach for the stars, Vince? So you're
reach
right.
for the stars.
So we
and a
start
spirit.
off...
That's the answer. That's the right one.
It's always the answer.
Same rules as last time. Book we all know. A. Lawrence, 3 stars. Average at best. Now, that hasn't helped you guess the title, but what I like about A. Lawrence is he accepts the fact that 3 stars is average. Can't all be 5 stars. Sometimes you just got to live with 3 stars, and that's perfectly okay.
Is that the entirety of his...
That is the entirety of the review. And also, one person found that helpful. I did.
So what was their review again?
3 stars. United Kingdom, 11th of March 2015. Verified purchase. Average at best.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to guess?
You're not. No, this is me.
Watchmen.
You could. It was Watchmen last time.
No, it's always Watchmen. Hannah Spirit. No.
You bring me in to help out, and I'm like, well, I'll do some work, and I have to go through the review.
Okay.
Quite like breaking that down. Average at best. The best it can achieve is like mid-level.
Yeah.
And all the rest of it is below that.
Yep. So,
go
on. This is from A1 5000. I'm sure his parents are very proud of that name when they.
Got the jump on Elon Musk with that name.
The robot.
1 star. A rare 1-star review for Breach of the Stars.
Oh.
Batman in tights and kapow driving an ice cream truck. This is really tame and old school. This is quite tame old school Batman. So if you're expecting high-tech tumblers and nano-edge carbon fiber and Kevlar technology with high-octane action and nail-biting storyline, you might be a little bit disappointed. I was hoping for a comment in that sentence, but it didn't come. It was originally published over 30 years ago, and despite being revamped, it's really showing its age in every way. Batman is wearing tights, and Alfred carries around a silver service teapot down a long staircase to the Batcave. One for collectors and enthusiasts, perhaps. 4 people.
Right, okay.
Batman Year 2.
I was going to say Year 1. Yeah.
Neither.
Oh, fuck.
Now, it said Batman in an ice cream truck.
Yes.
30 years old?
Yep.
That's not a Dark Knight Returns, is it?
It's not Long Halloween, is it?
Nope.
Oh.
Batman and an ice cream truck. God.
Nightfall?
Nope. We can go for the third of you.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go on.
Go 3.
Third of you. A reader. Honey. God, man! Exclamation mark.
Oh.
Verified purchase. This book is true, unbearable torture. It struck boring dread into the heart of their innocent buyer. However, they ploughed on, but the twist never came. When people say the clue is in the name, well, they're right. This book really was a blank. I was half dead by the second page, and I was thinking, what a dull joke this comic is. Not to mention the disturbingly gross, weird, childish, unimaginative, lifelessly boring illustrations. A rip-off? Yes. You may be wondering. It is a killing joke, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may be wondering why I'm the only one. Why I'm the only review being negative, but I shall stand close to it in my opinion, and I'll never give it to the rest of the reviewers saying this piece of scribble is good. Because face it, people, this was always meant to be a nightmare. I won't even say that it's good to be the Joker himself, not even to Batman. So, yep, folks, I hope after all this writing, you'll believe me that this utter disgrace by the New 52. They were 100 times better. Trust me.
Oh, mate,
No.
I just wish ill on that person who wrote that. Reader.
7 people found that helpful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Says it all.
I bet they like the animation. I bet they like the animated movie.
The film where he has sex with Batgirl.
Fucking.
There you go.
Awful.
But yes, that is Reach for the Stars this time.
Oh,
I've got another 2 if you want them, but we can save those for later on.
Save them for later.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm trying to think. The ice cream truck. Who's driving the ice cream? Batman is in the ice cream truck. That they mentioned in the review.
Remember.
Such a long time. Well, not a long time, but I haven't read. I can't recall Killing Joke. It must be in if he's. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
I mean, I wouldn't take them seriously.
No. I got a picture saved to my phone that's like a blank panel with a crack pipe, and above it says "This opinion by." So someone come up with a wacky opinion on, and you put that as like this opinion comes from smoking crack.
One side effect from researching Reach of the Stars is you find it's very hard to ship books. Apparently, the number of reviews who complain about it being damaged or pages broken or anything along those lines.
That's not. Okay. It's annoying because that's not what the fucking review process is about. It's reviewing the product, not the service. Surely, unless I grossly misread the fucking Amazon review.
No, apparently,
process.
Apparently, it's an excuse to show off your creative writing. And also to complain about the book being bent.
Yeah, I do like a good English complaint though. Sometimes I think it's good.
Oh yeah.
There's a series of YouTube videos where this guy like looks into these weird bits of pop culture, and there's one where he looks into a book that was released on Amazon called Empress Teresa, and basically it was a pretty poor book that this person wrote, and people left reviews slaking it off, and the author would respond saying, no, the book's really good. This is why you're wrong. And there were so many comments on it that it broke the limit, and no one else could post comics on it because the author would argue with people, and people would start trolling him. And I wonder if they're still on there.
I subscribe to this Twitter thing that's like weird reviews of movies. I think it's on Netflix.
Oh yes, Letterboxd reviews.
That's it. And there's one of Black Swan I saved on my phone that is, I relate to Natalie Portman because I too take every artistic criticism to an intensely personal level and love jerking off and stabbing myself.
Brilliant.
Oh.
I do like that.
Yeah, Vince.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay then, I've dug up a review. Now, I've in a rare turn of phrase. This is for a movie. It's obviously a comic book movie, of course, and we've watched them all, as you know we have. So here as see if you can guess this one. There's a variety of stars here. I won't do it as well as Tom, but yeah, I'll give it 1 star, not as advertised. I received this movie as a VHS when I specifically ordered a DVD. I received a VHS with a broken case. I'm very disappointed. This was a surprise to my husband for today. I am so let down with this purchase. What film's that?
Zulu.
No, it is a comic book movie.
Oh,
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta. No.
Watchmen.
Nope.
It's got to be
Love the
VHS.
fact that Watchmen still got mentioned.
Every time.
Supergirl the movie.
Nope. This is a 2-star review.
Punisher.
This is an okay movie. I purchased it because it was on sale.
Good.
X-Men 2.
Oh. Nope. But I think you'll know it from this one. This is the 3-star. We've gone from 1 to 2, now 3 stars.
Oh.
The name of the review is 3 stars. And the review is Billy Zane playing Billy Zane in a costume.
And the Phantom.
Yeah, slam evil motherfucker. Everyone should watch that.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is sexy in that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Wouldn't you be like deep? Your wife said, "Oh, look, I've got something for you, the love of my life, a DVD." Oh, what is it? It's The Phantom starring Billy Zane.
But this is a VHS, and it's broken. I want a divorce.
I reckon she ordered the wrong product and got a VHS.
Yeah, there was probably some double-ender called The Phantom, wasn't there, or something?
Slam something.
God.
You do the rest of that joke. I don't want to do.
No. But I think it is time to shout out some things this week. Do we have any shout outs, gents?
Yes. So thanks to everyone who came to the drink and draw. Last one of the lockdown. This is how we're billing it, and it was a nice one, wasn't it? It was good fun, guys.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Really lovely.
Yeah.
Now we're free.
Yeah, we're free. Dan refers to it as a fair day. On the day we came free.
Me?
The fun fair signs open though.
Thanks to everyone who was so nice about George Mayhem. We sent it out, so everyone who was an early adopter of the Patreon got it as a gift. Don't expect if you're on the lower tier that you're going to get a comic every month. You're not, but it's a little gift just to thank everyone. There is a chance to up your tier to get a physical copy of Flesh and Ink 1 when it comes out in a couple of weeks, and you then get it monthly as a physical and a digital copy. So Flesh and Ink number 1 is on its way soon. Our buddy Harry Harris has got a new book out, which is well worth a look. I had a little read at the start of it earlier. It's called Fallen Duty. He's the guy that you did some of the interior art for it, didn't you, Dan? Do you remember?
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I was looking at them the other day. They're great.
Good.
I don't want to big myself up. They came out really well.
So look for that. Harry Harris, Fallen Duty. Well done to Eamon on the 1,200 quid he raised as the recent Mind charity fundraiser, the 2000 AD artwork. That's not bad, is it? 1,200 quid.
That's good.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
well done, everyone.
Well done.
Yeah, good stuff, Eamon. And he's always doing fundraisers, so keep an eye on the MCBC podcast Twitter stream and you'll see them coming up. But that was a really good one, so really good stuff. They're my ones.
We should do another one of them, you know.
I reckon we do another one to Christmas again, like we did before.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's quite a good one, wasn't it? Yeah.
I've got 2.
Go for it.
Shall I say that again? I've got 2.
Yeah.
It came a bit weird the first time.
It was all right the second time.
Earthworks, a rural horror comic by our friend Alpha Gallagher. Written by Martin Hayes. It looks great. Comic's full pages
got
long.
Like a day to do on it, haven't you?
Yes.
36 hours.
Yeah.
So,
get on it now.
So you won't have much time. It's made its target, but I pledge it because it looks great. And we've got Sugarcane Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
An A5 sketchbook containing 38 original characters from the world of Sugarcane, a cyberpunk future.
Kev was on form at the drink and draw.
It was really,
Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah.
So go check that out. That's awesome.
Nice. Another Kickstarter, obviously Beast Hunting Battle Badgers, absolutely smashing it. But go forth, because that collection is going to be a beautiful book by our pal Steve Sims. I'll watch that series just explode after this, I think.
Yeah.
And also Saturday 4th of December is Bristol's first comic art festival that promotes and celebrates LGBTQ plus QA plus artists. It's a mouthful, all those, but this is Pride Comic Art Festival. So definitely check it out.
When's that, mate? Sorry, I missed that.
That is Saturday 4th of September.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to, I'll just give you the Twitter, at Pride Caf. So it's going to be 4th of the 9th at the station in Bristol. So
what's that then? Is that a pub? Is it?
No, it's an old fire station.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
You can go play Laser Quest afterwards if you want to.
Hey. They had to cancel last year due to the pandemic. So it's go forth and support loads of great creators and support the event itself.
Can I just give a very little shout out to Steve Conley, who just makes a really lovely short form webcomic called The Middle Age.
I know the one.
He's just a lovely guy, and the artwork's really nice. And I try to mention him every time I'm on here because I just really like his work. And I just think he really hits his lovely line between like short form but long form story, which it's just really hard to do, and I just think he does it really well.
So it's called The Middle Age. Is it just all one word, The Middle Age?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Sorry, middleagecomic.com.
themiddleagecomic.com. Brilliant. I went quiet there because I was just writing it down in my notes. That's how we do on this show. But that's a wonderful segue to some recommendations to our lovely listeners. I would say the guest, but now he's kind of the fourth wheel.
Yeah.
But Tom, you got to go first.
Yeah, that's right. No problem at all. Okay. Okay, dear listener, I'd like to think of you a bit like your wine sommelier for this recommendation.
Here we go.
I want to go to twitter.com and look at this Chucklehead's Twitter. You'll see on there a thread which starts with, "Here's my small TED talk for the Awesome Pod recommendation tonight." Let's follow this down together and really go through this piece by piece. Today I'm recommending Chainsaw Man.
Breaking it up.
Breaking it down, breaking it up, mixing up the medium. Let's start with the cover. So Chainsaw Man is a story from Shonen Jump. It is 95 issues long. This arc is completely finished. You can go onto the Shonen Jump app now. You can get a week's free access and read it all in about 4 days. Easy peasy. And then you've got 3 days left to explore other things. So the world of Chainsaw Man is a world where devils are born from human fears. The more a devil is feared, the more dangerous and malevolent they are. And there is a government agency called the Devil Hunters who hunt said devils by making deals with them. So if we start in like the nitty-gritty, again, looking at this Twitter thread, well, if you're driving, of course, just let Jesus take the wheel. I'm sure he'll sort it out. First thing, the covers. Covers are this glorious explosion of pop culture, oranges and greens, and they just show the phonetic movement in the whole piece.
I mean, they are sort of like put that as a print, frame it, and put it up on your wall.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And so
they will jump out on those the Comixology thumbnail thing.
Yeah.
And talking of phonetic movements, the actual panels themselves, you get this whole. It's a battle comic, so there's lots of fighting, and the movement and the motion. Like so often in comics, you get lost to where the places are, where, crossing the line, that kind of idea, like where you're supposed to be looking. And they get it right all the time. You always know where things are. You always know where things are moving towards. and like the blood and the guts and the viscera just screaming out of the page. Combine that with like interesting character designs, really lovely sensitive writing at times, really lovely like stories, and just this is so nice, the SFX. They combine the sound effects with the motion, so you get this. I posted on again on the thread, which you can be looking at, this image of a frog just ribbiting, and they've used like the bulbous part of his neck to say ribbits. And it's such a small little touch, but it just shows exactly the care and attention, detail, the work the guys put into making this. And yeah, that's my recommendation. If you enjoyed it, just tweet a croissant to me for no good reason other than I think it's funny, and I think people will find for a few days just croissants turning up. It's just a weird thing to find. Anyway, that's my recommendation, Chainsaw Man.
Good work, sir.
That is one of the first fully interactive recommendations we've had on the show, and he's already had a croissant from me.
Thank you. I just think it'd be weird, and I think people will see that coming up and be like, what the fuck's this? And then a bit of weirdness on your timeline is not a bad thing to have every now and again.
Oh, more pastry on the timeline is what we need in this world.
Chainsaw Man, the whole Shonen Jump anime app, there's loads of stuff on there. It's $2 a month. You can read this in a week. Easy peasy. You get time to read something else afterwards. Wow. There you go.
What is it like using that app as a reading experience?
So you have to get used to swiping the other way, and you have to get used to reading right to left. And what I really enjoy is if you swipe the wrong way, it almost has like a, hey, you stupid Westerner.
If I turn my iPad upside down, will it work if I swipe the other way?
I have yet to try that.
Okay.
But like a cosmonaut, we could go explore this together and see what's going to happen. But yeah. So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Gonna have to fucking read that because I bought the book. Well,
hilarious. In German.
Yeah, bought in German once again. Buying German manga.
It's an ongoing thing, Dad. That is just like
it's fucking annoying. Last one, I went through the Amazon returns process. And you got to go to the site, log everything, and then print it out, and then take it down to the post office. And this time, I just can't be fucking bothered. Just gonna leave it on the shelf.
I'm sorry to go like a little bit extra on that one, but totally.
Sorry, man.
Very silly.
It's good.
We want it.
There's so many things it does well, and I think that I think in the same way people are talking about Demon Slayer, sorry. People will be talking about this because they're going to convert it. They're going to not convert it. They're going to make it a anime, and people will be talking about it in the same way. Yeah. So I think there's an opportunity here to like read this and enjoy it, and like just get this real sense of like what this medium can offer.
You can get the jump on it.
Yeah, you can get the jump on it.
Use that.
The shonen jump on it.
I hope they can capture the. I don't know if anyone's read the One Punch Man, but like the One Punch Man series 1 on Netflix, the energy and movement and action in that is fucking brilliant.
It's so funny as well.
So well done, yeah.
So funny.
And do you know what? You can also read One Punch Man on the Shonen Jump app.
There you go.
When you finish Chainsaw Man and you've got 4 days left or whatever, check out that.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, Tony, do you have 2 again this week?
I do, got 2. Yeah.
Do you want
one just was sort of worthy mention to the start, and then I'll do the longer one later. So, first one is Blue and Gold. A little bit of nostalgia, a little slice of nostalgia. Blue and Gold 1 of 8, which is Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Get these creators. Dan Jurgens writes it, so it's going to be good, isn't it? Art and cover art by Ryan Sook, who's just enough Adam Hughes for you to enjoy this, I think, if you dig it. Letters by Rob Lee. Really feels like a slice of just, going home. Sook has got a really lovely style that is, Adam Hughes almost had that sort of realistic but very, he showed real emotion in the faces, didn't he? Especially on the covers, we remember that cover, don't we, from Justice League? And he's the same, I think, Sook. It's really nice. And the relationship between the two of them feels really good. So what happens in it opens with Booster Gold involved in a battle with an alien spaceship over the top of New York City. And obviously, now this normally would get right up my arse, but it's totally right for Booster Gold is that he's live streaming it as he does it. It wouldn't work for me if Spider-Man did it, but it works with Booster Gold because Booster Gold is all about that being famous thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's not doing too well in this fight, and on board the spaceship are the captured Justice League. So Skeets heads off to find Blue Beetle, who initially says, "No, I don't really want to help." He's actually a graveyard. They don't want to do it, but ends up them both sort of saving the day. I won't ruin it too much, but typically they fuck it up because they save the Justice League, but the spaceship escapes. And the Justice League is saying, well, you fucked that up. I know you saved us, thanks a lot, but you let them get away, so we don't even know who they are. Sort of thing. And while Booster's off doing stuff, the Justice League asked Beetle to join, but they said, no, we don't want Booster Gold involved. So, and Batman just stands there staring. He's like wordless, just staring at them, glowering at them. And Beetle says no, and they go off to become this sort of partnership again. It's only a matter of time. It's an 8-issue series, but it's only a matter of time before we get like Guy Gardner, turning up. Maybe Ice, maybe the rest of the gang turn up. It came out this week in a time of impenetrable comics where you need a degree in comics to be able to figure out who that person is talking to Batman. This was just a welcome, just like lovely to read. Dialogue's great. Durgan's just is a master in knowing what he needs in the comic. And it's not a short read either. There's quite a lot to it. You might want to get it in trade, but you might want to get it in issues. I think it reads fun. It just reminds me of that monthly read I got with the Justice League, when it was coming out. Good stuff. Blue and Gold. Still issues available in Gosh, so go and have a look.
Nice.
My first one.
Dan, what would you like to recommend?
I've got the TMNT, the Ultimate Collection, Volume 1. For the uninitiated, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we had a little side note in a issue 2. The turtles are chillaxing at home, and one of them's reading Dune, which got a way out of all of us because we're big Dune fanatics. We didn't talk about that, did we? Tom, you kind of hadn't read. You'd read Dune.
No.
Now you've watched it.
Yeah. Don't out me. Yeah, no, I'd read Dune. I just hadn't watched the film. This is a real. Do you know what recommendation? I'm going to recommend the Dune film by David Lynch. It's really great if you've read the book.
Did you see the Lynch cut?
So I did see the Lynch cut. Yes.
Yeah, that's when he spits on her face and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer.
Well, that's the theatrical cut, isn't it? The Lynch cut's longer, but yeah, just a little bit of spittle
for your face.
Yeah.
I would hate to live in that universe. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's quite sweaty, isn't it?
Yeah, especially if you're Harkonnen. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So this is the collection. How many issues does this do? It's like an oversized book. It's got issues 1 to 7. It's got Raphael Maiko series one shot, and each issue is sort of broken up annotations by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, and they've got like sketches and stuff, and they reminisce on the issue. What I really like about reading the early Turtle stuff, and generally the Turtle stuff, is it feels like it was a book made by our contemporaries now, if you know what I mean. I can imagine like Steve Sims making Battle Badgers. It feels like that kind of book I'm reading, and I really like it for that. I love it.
Totally, man. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, yeah. It's got a real underground feel to it, isn't it?
Yeah, and because that's what it is, wasn't it? Didn't it absolutely... Yeah. There's the thing on Netflix when they talk about... Is it Netflix? They talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can remember watching a documentary. And,
there was a documentary about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've fucking done stupid numbers for being an indie comic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself that. I'm just going to try and collect the rest of the series as they come out. As I've started.
Yeah, I got this. It was nice. It's a nice collection, isn't it?
It's really nice.
Akira, really Berserk, Invincible. I've got all these things I'm trying to collect now.
Think of the mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the foundations of the house, man. They're big books.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, bloody hell. Yeah, keep them in the basement, not in the attic. So otherwise they might come through.
In retrospect,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, Tony. Your floors are reinforced, though. That's right.
What's that thing about the things you own end up owning you? I mean, that's...
Yeah.
I think we've all just turned into that skid.
Yeah.
Totally
turned into that skid. Brilliant. Yeah. My recommendation for this week is a book from Plan B Comics. If you don't know who Plan B are, they are Big Dumb Comics by Big Dumb comic artist Nick Holmes, which is at Plan B Comics on Twitter. Got a couple of books, one of which is Final Girl, issue 1, launched 2 comics. And the one which I read, but also the one I wanted to focus on was Hardcore Bazooka Allstars, Volume 1. This is Hanna-Barbera meets Sam Raimi, a two-fisted love letter to the pop culture schlockfests found in the video stores of yesteryear. the hardcore Bazooka All-Stars are the last line of defense in a world of monsters, robots, aliens, and every conceivable B-movie staple there is. This is just fucking great. This is just the energy of it. Nick's artwork brings to mind very much Jim Marfood, Jamie Hewlett sort of kind of vibes. Whereas Final Girl is very much a black and white with some half-tone sort of shading stuff. Hardcore Bazooka All-Stars is very much full colour, full-on, bright colours, neon, as it says on the cover. Even got a little flash saying, lovely premiere issue, which I think is what a great little flash to have on your cover. It says, big dumb heroes, big dumb villains, big dumb thrills. Presented in the big dumb Plan B style. I love the fact that he's creating a brand for himself and just fucking going for it. And the cover is very much the group of titular heroes fighting loads of zombies. And it says Night of the Undead Yuppie Scum. And that's just one of the stories in this. Because the Hardcore Bazooka All-Stars are a quartet of characters. The look of them is fantastic. They're all wearing like red, like Adidas tracksuit type things. So they've got a sort of almost they've got a uniform that is totally, you could cosplay this easily. It just looks really badass. You know the classic sort of red with white stripes. But these aren't just any old sort of characters. You've got a robot called Suzuki Overkill, who is the last of the War Droid super cannons. Although she prefers not to talk about it.
Great
you got Bionic Action Slacks, who's a former pro rider for Primitive Screwhead Bikes and master of Bike Foo. He's part man, part machine. After a particularly ill, ambitious jump saw him hurtling into the path of a speeding mech former unit. There is the supernatural character Heavenly Rigor Mortis. Once upon a time, she was the world's greatest stunt performer. Now she's just a collection of broken body parts held together by the combined powers of science and the supernatural. And the final character, Loungecore Bowlerama, who is the pioneer of the world-renowned G-pop, a progressive funk fusion of folk, hip-hop and dead tongues. A particularly intense jamming session involving the channeling of 13 demonic entities left Loungecore afflicted with visions so intense he was forced to step away from the world stage forever. That is your setup for these characters, and basically they go through the work, they sort of travel along and they bump into monsters. One of them, and this book is made up of, you've got some nice sort of one-page little strips that have that nice sort of jokey sort of rhythm to them, full of like neon-like colours. There's lots of magentas and blues going on in this book. It's wonderfully designed as well. So there's these little one-pages focused on a character, and it immediately sort of draws you into getting to know this character a bit more when they're not sort of dressed in their tracksuits and fighting monsters. And then you've got a couple of short stories, one of which, Rumblings, which is literally a graboid from Tremors and them fighting it, which is fucking awesome. And then later on, you got the slightly longer story about how they come across some yuppie zombies in the sewers, and they're trying to figure out what they are and how they keep mentioning chuds. And of course, if you know B movies, the classic chud, which Tony,
I watched that last week.
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Yeah.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Yep. And that's yep. Nick is clearly someone who watches the sort of stuff that we all watch on the every so often, and Tony watches on a daily basis. So there's lots of, but it is that sort of what I like about it is it isn't just naming lots of things for, oh look at me, I've watched this film, or I know this reference. Even if you didn't know the reference, you could still enjoy the comic, which I think's great. But as well as that, there's wonderful artwork. There's some of these pages, wonderful splash pages. There's one where 3 of the characters are surrounded by these yuppie zombies, and they're just kicking the crap out of them. There's another one with a... Actually, I don't want to give the game away, but there's a fantastic splash page towards the end, including something getting chomped. And next issue, it ends with is going to be called Chudzilla, so which is pretty amazing.
Gone out with her at college.
But there's a wonderful sense of humour in this as well. There's I highly recommend this. It's only let's have a look. It's $1.59 on Comixology. I'm hoping there's I think there is print copies. If you go to Plan B Comics, I think planbcomics.com. I think Nick's been selling these. Hopefully it'll be at Thought Bubble, because I'd love to get some print copies of this, because it just looks, it's that wonderful colour that I'd like to see on the page as well. Certainly, it seemingly exploded out of nowhere onto my radar. Someone that is definitely worth looking out for and following. And that literally go and follow them, because it's criminally they don't have lots of followers. So Plan B Comics, that's comics with an X, on Twitter, and you'll see examples of the artwork, and it's just brilliant stuff. I loved it. I read Final Girl as well, which is kind of like a hack slash kind of character.
Okay.
It is a Final Girl from a Friday the 13th type thing, but now they go around and they just hunt down slashers and kill them. And that's also someone that knows. It's the creator that's like us. They've read all these horror movies and these fantastic.
And this is their sort of take on it.
Yeah. They know their genre and they're leaning into it. So, yeah, definitely check out Plan B Comics and Hardcore Bazooka Allstars. Get on it. I can't wait for the next issue. I just devoured it in one go. So that's
nice one. Sounds great.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Tony.
Last one, gentlemen. It has arrived.
Yes, finally.
Oh,
Very
yes.
excited.
This is the review that is years in the making. I say
Years
review.
in the making.
This is the recommendation that's been years in the making. We've heard
Only
about
cost
it.
me about £100, this book. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Dreadstar Returns Volume 1. Story and art Jim Starlin. Created by Jim Starlin. Inks by Jamie Jameson. Letters by Dave Lanfear. For those that don't know, Vance Dreadstar was created in Epic Illustrated number 3, 1982. He's the last survivor of the Milky Way galaxy. His comic has jumped about companies, but particularly focuses on him, as well as a sort of a band of crewmates, stroke teammates, stroke colleagues, stroke some are villains, some are not, some are evil, some are not. It jumped from Epic to First Comics. The first sort of colour run is a whodunit. Sneakily around the same time as Watchmen, perhaps a little earlier, and it then went from First Comics. It ran for a while. Peter David wrote it there, and it went to. Do you remember Bravura, which was an imprint of Malibu?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, which is where Kalia, who's his daughter, sort of took on it. Most recently, it appeared in the final issue, or the last page of the penultimate and the final issue of Breed, Volume 3, another Starlin creation. Dreadstar and Oedi, who's a sort of cat character. Appeared in something called the Elsewhere Alliance. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just a bit of sort of the non-Marvel Starlin verse that we saw. He's a really interesting character. He's got that sci-fi fantasy thing we used to see somewhere between a Michael Moorcock character, a Philip K. Dick character, and maybe someone like Marion Zimmer Bradley, somebody like that. But also mixed up. There's a little bit, because I know you find this with Starlin's work, but there's something slightly satirical with his work, isn't there? It's slightly off. It's superheroing and space fantasy and all this sort of thing, but there's something else going on. There's a twinkle in the eye sometimes. Maybe something like Robert Sheckley or something. Dreadstar is part sort of space Spartacus. He's parts, Blake from Roger Blake, but he's also an interesting character because there's a sort of messianic thing going on with him, but it's mainly a sort of fantasy tinged space opera. He's got a kind of magic weapon. He is kind of imbued with sort of powers. He's a man who lives, when his blood's up, he's a man full of rage and violence, and he's a really interesting character that has sort of reappeared over the years. The villains are often bloated and sort of disgusting and, vile creatures, or he also plays a lot on the religious theme. So one of the main villains is called the Lord High Papal of the Instrumentality. So you can see there's almost like a bit of Douglas Adams there sometimes as well. There's that little nod to it. And you can see that particular character is a bit like a cross between Thanos and a pope, I suppose. I bought it all. I absolutely loved it. And so, with a little bit of trepidation, I decided, could I return home with this one? And it was something that we discussed quite a lot. I know on the Drink and Draw we discussed whether we should, because it was one of those Kickstarters that you ended up having to pay extra for the postage, and it did my sweet. Yeah. Anyway, so this is going to be spoiler free. I'm going to keep this spoiler free because you'll see why. It's a standard hardback. I'm not sure. I put it on the Slack earlier, and there's a little bit of a conversation started about the image on the cover. There's a touch of it that feels a little bit too digital. Okay. For me.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. The cover is one of those sort of multiple character covers, but it doesn't have the flair of the Warlock cover with, the Warlock central. Vance Dreadstar is kind of central, but I'm not really sure. Have a look on the Slack, guys. You'll see I'm not really sure where he's just stuck all these characters. It's strange. The eye is drawn to the top right-hand third, and it's the character who's not Dreadstar. It's a weird one. It's Ominous Press who produced it, and I would have preferred something a little bit more, maybe a little bit like an embossed. Traditional? Yeah, a little bit like a nice hardback with an embossed image on the front, and you open it up. This is a victim of COVID, so I'm sure this is nothing to do with anything. But the signature plate is something that's glued into the book, so they've obviously had to send out separate cards so that the creators could sign it and then send it back, and then it's glued in, and it's not quite straight in my one, so I don't really know what happened there. But it opens with Dreadstar walking out of the wilderness on a planet to confront the monarch and all of his robots and lizards. And the monarchs, there's a dead, kind of like a kaiju, a big beast at their feet, and the monarch saying, "Just film it so it looks like I'm the person who killed it." And this sort of grimacing, gritted teeth Dreadstar walks out with his hood up, and says to them, "I'm going to kill you all. You're treating this planet, badly. The people need to return to own this planet," and he ends up just utterly destroying them all. From there, he gets called to a planet. Willow, who's the female character from it, is now a supercomputer who's running a galaxy of planets, almost saying it's part of a linked up thing. And then something happens, and I won't spoil it. The colouring is a little bit too on point for me. It's a little bit not on point, a little bit too digital, bright. When you colour something digitally, you almost like to. I almost feel like they're
overly saturated.
Yeah, they almost need to tone it down a bit, bring it down a bit. It's too bright. And most of the stuff I used to read Dreadstar on was newsprint on, the old school magazine pages, and I don't think it quite works. It's good in the most part. It's good styling. There's some great pages. There's some really interesting designs. It's his usual grotesque original designs. As soon as you open it, you recognise it as styling. I do like his line. I do think he's great. There are a couple of pages that feel rushed. There feels like a couple of pages that are double page spreads that I don't know. There's no spoilers, but there's a character in it who's a sort of big lump. Teuton is called, and as in 2 ton, and they go into this. It's a bit like the sort of a negative universe. They go in there, and the only way they can get around is they all climb on him, and then Vance Dreadstar uses his sword to shoot off energy, and it pushes them forward like an engine. Okay. And you think that's a nice little splash page. There's a panel at the top, and there's this big panel of it happening, and then you turn the page, and it's another double page splash of it, the same thing. And I'm thinking, why are they showing that twice?
Yeah, well, you got twice for that.
Yeah, it's almost like they need to make up the page numbers. It's a bit like that. It's okay. The story in it is something. I'm not going to say now because I don't want to ruin it for people because people haven't got it yet. But the story is something that you will recognise as a definite trope of a story type. I'll tell you after we start recording.
Okay.
But it's something that you've seen in every single TV series, you've seen in every single comic book series. It just always happens. And then I realised suddenly that this isn't, and I should have realised this before because it's got a big 1 on the spine, this isn't a standalone graphic novel, it's the first in a series.
Back in the second one, T?
Well, bearing in mind how long it took to get to me, I think I might just wait for it to be advertised in Diamond. Yeah. And on page 107, it says, coming soon, Dreadstar versus the Inevitable. And I think the Inevitable is the delay on the Kickstarter. And it lays up as a single page spread on the last page, which lays up the cliffhanger for the next one. But
so if you'd received this, if you'd received this when you were just supposed to, all those years ago, do you think you would have had a much more? Would you think that had a more positive?
Yeah. I was going to mention this, Tom, and I think you're right, mate. I would have been. We've all had Kickstarters we've had to wait ages for, and by the time they arrive, we're like, oh fucking, I was excited for this. I know it's terribly childish of us, isn't it? You know, it's what do they call it, first world problems. But by the time it gets to us, sometimes we're like, nah, I can't really be bothered now.
I can totally understand it because there's all this bad will and ill feeling about it already before we even start reading the fucking thing.
Yeah. It's almost like there's a community grown up out of all the moaning on the Kickstarter page. You know, we're actually messaging each other about, oh, did you get the book yet? I know I got it. What did you get? A shipping notice and all this sort of thing. Yeah. But it's Stalin. Stalin is divorced from the running of the Kickstarter, from what I can see and from what I can tell. He just drew it. He sent it off to them, and then he got his comp copies through. For just Stalin for a book about Dreadstar, I'm happy. You know, I think it's okay. It's not a huge epic story that I expected it to be, because I think I did build it up in my mind with all that time that went past. But it's, I feel like I'm home again. Yeah, with a few caveats.
Okay,
I think sure I'll put it. Yeah,
but for all the money and the delay and stuff, is it worth it?
No, it's not worth it. No, for the price, it's not worth it at all.
And
for the enjoyment, it's not worth it. No.
And do you think this is adversely affected other fans?
Yeah, I think so, and it's adversely affected my opinion of it, and maybe Stalin, but mostly these people who sent it out, the people who were packaging it, and there's a letter that came with it that said something like, Kickstarters aren't easy. Oh, really? Thank you for letting me know. I've run fucking 3 this year.
Yeah, that's the worst thing to say.
Yeah,
did it really come with a letter like that?
Where did it say? This has been an especially challenging campaign, thanks to printing complexities due to the pandemic. Yeah, thanks for that. I've printed 4 copies during the pandemic, 4 comics during the pandemic. But yeah, you got a letter with it. But
say sorry, lessons were learned, and we'll try our best not to let this happen again.
It doesn't really say that, but it's not downbeat. Put it that way. But,
just own the mistake, man. Like
there's a series of prints you get with it by a few different artists. I can't see the names on them for the moment, but there's some nice stuff in there. There's a couple of styling, the one signed, the bookmark. There's a set of top trumps. That's what we all want in our lives.
Yeah. That takes you to develop itself, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've heard an expression that they can use here. When you have to eat shit, don't nibble.
You're like the Sun Tzu of kickstarting.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Creation Inc. They're the people who made it. But there you go. So, goods and bads, guys. Goods and bads.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's my.
I'm just glad you got it, man.
Me too, man. Me too. Yeah, me and Alan Harvey got it I think in the same week. And we're both saying, right, here we go. I'm going to read it now. So I'd like to know what Alan actually thinks, because he's a bit of a Dreadstar aficionado.
Anyone commenting saying like, I ain't fucking back in another one?
Yeah. Oh yeah, loads of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, good luck to him.
Well, but it's been interesting hearing the final verdict.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I tried to be fair about it. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Or honest, I suppose. Is
So you've only got like 24 outstanding Kickstarters now, T.
Yeah, I'm a super backer. I didn't even know what that means. Yeah. So I've only got 4. No, I've got 6 outstanding now. Yeah. That's not too bad. One is over 3 years now, so that's right.
God. Well,
fingers crossed, guys.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed.
If Jim can do it, anyone can.
Yeah, it's true. But we hope that you enjoyed this week's episode, and there's lots of comics therefore on that list that you need to go and check out and add to your wish lists, or maybe have a think about whether you're going to back again. And there's been lots of different topics we've talked about which invite further discussion. So please get involved and get in touch and keep the conversation going. If you've got if there's any events or anything like that you want us to shout about on the show, you can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Likewise, if there's any topics or anything you want us to talk about, if we're gonna get into the weeds of process again. That's always good fun to talk about, like making comics. You can get in touch with us and let us know what you want to hear about. You can follow us on Twitter at The Awesome Pod. If you do the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. Join the community group Awesome Comics Talk, where we post the episodes and keep the conversation going in those comment threads, as well as the comment threads for this particular episode on Twitter, etc. And yes, thank you very, very much for listening to the show, wherever you heard from us. Oh, and join the if you want a nice comic book chat, then the Slack, the Awesome Pod Slack.
Yeah,
get on there. Yeah, it's been a good week, isn't it? Yeah.
You're really close to getting a rhyme there, Vince.
Hey?
Yeah.
You're really close to getting a rhyme there. Enjoy the comic book chat. Join the ACP Slack.
I know, I'm a poet. I don't even know.
effortless.
You're a rapper.
I'm trying to set up the next draw off. Is going to be a June draw off.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
But it's almost August.
What do you
June. Right, okay.
Well, the plan is we're going to put your name down for it if you want to draw it, and then I'm going to dole out the characters to each one, and you got to design and draw that character as you see fit.
Oh wow, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Can one of them just be the Sands?
the sand.
Just a worm.
The spice.
The worm.
The spice.
Christian Bale wears the sand.
Yeah.
Behind the circus is the Sands.
yeah.
He's got the range. He can pull it off.
Yeah.
The full bodysuit. You see him rolling around on the floor.
Oh my god.
Oh, here comes Andy again, acting like a twat on the set.
I really had to get to the mindset of the sand.
What is the sand? What was it thinking?
I am the sand.
Why was it blowing east? Anyway, speaking of blowing hot air, thank you for listening to us, wherever you listen to us, whether it is on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, I have problems saying podcast.
You do, don't you?
Every week when I get, I'm just tired.
It's all right, Vince.
But make me feel better by subscribing and leaving a review, because it helps get the word out about the show and all the great comics and topics that we talk about every week on Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on any other networks like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife, what other networks are we on, Tony?
We're also on the warming one, Pod Hot Richard.
Warming.
Warming.
Warming. I thought you said warmling.
I'll explain what it is later.
Oh God, I'm a bit scared. And thank you, Tom, for joining us again this week. To throw us in the
Cheers,
deep,
Tom. Yeah,
that's right.
Throw us in
good to
the
have you
deep
back, man.
end of deep discussions and terrible reviews, and also the first interactive recommendation, fully interactive recommendation. Long may it continue. You got to do that every time now, Tom.
I'm actively wishing ill upon that person who gave that review of Killing Joke.
And that's the point of this show. We always like to get down into that particular mindset every week.
That's what I wanted to bring with this sort of light-hearted game.
Yep, pretty much. Dan Butcher is Michael Douglas stuck in his car and falling down, and bit by bit we're just chipping away at him. Anyway, where can people find us online, etc.? Tony?
Patreon.com/Tribute Press.
There you go. Go forth and support, because you get comics.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
Get them digitally and sent through the post. There you go.
Yeah. What more do you need? You need some Dan Butcher. Where can they find you, Dan?
You can find me or read my comic on vanguardcomic.com. And if you want to see how I'm getting on drawing Viper Part 2 Soviet Strike, you can go check out the Vanguard Patreon. I was flattening a page on the Drink and Draw on Friday, and I gave people a sneak peek at it. And quite interested. So,
someone said, "What's flatting?" That was good. It was educational.
Yeah. Flatting is fucking boring.
There you go. Knowledge is power. That was what they learned from it, was it? Rather than we go in deep with the process on this show. Flatting is fucking boring.
There's loads of stuff I find boring about making comics. Inking is boring. Flatting is boring. Although I love all the other stuff.
Oh, come on. Jesus. Yeah,
But you wouldn't show early, it seems.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know it to look at Dan's comics because
it's just outlining. Tracing.
Every part of it is imbued with love. And if you want more love, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jester Diablo and Tom, the mighty Chucklehead.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
Well, as you've alluded to, you can follow me at this Chucklehead on twitter.com.
There you go. What more do you need?
You ever mentioned Skellibob?
Do you know? I don't. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. Yeah. I know. I should get around to it at some point.
There you go. Comics, people. That I think if there ever was a catchphrase for comics in general, it's
get around to it.
I should get around to it at some point.
Like give those who put out Dreadstar.
Hey.
Controversial.
Nice.
But yes, wherever you are in the world, we hope you're happy, healthy, and doing okay, and you go forth and have a brilliant week. Because we all love you, don't we?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I had to start buying Valentine's Day cards now, frankly, there's so many of you guys.
There you go. See? Yeah, Tony.
It's cost me a fortune in stamps.
I sent you a postcard.
Yeah. Oh, God. With those hedgehogs.
Yeah.
But wherever you are, we hope you are doing well. Have a great week. Read loads of comics. Make loads of comics. And, from Dan, Tony, Tom, and myself, you should just... I don't know. What should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Just fucking an agent of chaos, Curry. An agent of fucking chaos. And that's why he'll be back fairly soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what a sex seesaw is, and I'm not going to put my thing into incognito mode to look it up.
It was an inflatable one as well.
So is it just like a seesaw and the bloke sits behind the girl?
Yeah, I think you sort of your legs cross over, or I don't know.
Okay.
Right, okay. There's all this gold just going to the cutting room floor. So,
on the drain.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing them on sale in Lidl at some point.
Oh, God, yeah, your little
I mean,
sex
like all
section.
seesaws, what must come up must come down.
Boning.
Nice one, B.
Right. Let's vocal exercises. Bone, 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 bone. Anus. Right.
Big throbbing dicks.
Don't too far, Tom. Too far.
Set the tone.
Yeah.
Tom, please.
Tom, please.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah.